Hey guys, we'll be ready in just a few minutes here. AR, why don't you say a few words?
I just got out of a meeting, so this is the Digimon podcast, right?
Yes.
We're talking about Digimon for, at least pretend to talk about Digimon for a little while until we end up talking about Scooby-Doo or whatever.
We didn't get quite as many cartoonish, doesn't quite fit questions that I could slide in to split things up. Except one question that was sent in ahead of time. I think they're all actually relevant questions.
I don't believe you.
You'll find a way.
Yes.
I have faith.
Dev, a few more words just so we can make sure.
I am so goddamn tired. Which is nothing new, but, you know.
Okay, you guys ready to go?
One more sip.
Okay.
Okay, let's do this.
Welcome to the podcast. We're here to entertain and inform, but we're talking about Digimon. I'm Marker, run with the will, and produce Digimon on Blu-ray.
I'm AR Pulver, and can I talk to you for a moment about our Lord and Savior Endbringer?
I'm DevQ, and I do not have a follow-up for that.
And I just switched the interface over to the new one, which me and Lost worked on ahead of episode 200.
Ooh. Fancy.
There are big headphones on the Digi-Vice now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bit of Savers inspiration in the logo, which I'm not sure how I feel about.
There's a lot of Sabers inspiration in this episode, so...
I can't see shit, so I'll have to look at that later.
You mean that it didn't do well, and it randomly will not inspire toys in the future?
Among other things.
And oddly, the one that none of us would have guessed when the show began, it also does not have Blu-rays for some reason.
For some reason.
I'm not a huge Savers fan. I don't keep that secret, but how many times have I gone, aha, they're gonna announce Savers Blu-ray soon? Because
we expected it quite a few times. It would have been a good time.
Yes, there's been multiple times it would have been very good to do them, and it just hasn't. So
they're not mean enough to do that as the April Fool's joke, but I'm not eliminating that as a possibility.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because we're actually we'll get into it, but
I feel they could say on April 1st, like, we're doing Sabers Blu-rays, and then let everyone try to figure out whether it's a joke or not, and make it and decide what to do based off their reaction.
Well, we could also soon end up with finally get to stop guessing. I think they're gonna do a 4K of Kazuna.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Because Toei's been announcing more and more 4K catalog titles, and we have a movie coming soon. There's actually a chance for it.
Mm-hmm.
How has everybody's week been before we jump into stuff?
Surprisingly pleasant. I got back from a convention.
Remember 2 hours ago.
AR is trying to stay alive.
This is what happens when I do a double header on a Monday night.
Yeah. Okay, and then I guess it's time to jump into episode 67 of Ghost Game, The Devourer of All. It is the series finale, despite what crazy people on Twitter are trying to argue with AR.
It's over. Deal with it.
I don't think I've ever seen more watching AR argue with people and it looking like AR is ready to just say, stop being fucking stupid.
Oh, I did that in so many words anyway.
No, but a few times it looked like you were ready to just where people are trying to argue random minutia with you that is completely normal in shows.
People just don't like open endings. I don't understand the anger towards open endings. Open endings are fun.
Yeah,
I like open endings.
So do I, but this kind of
was awesome.
Yeah.
If you say so.
It was awesome-ish. So
it was Ghost Game level awesome.
Yes, that I will agree with that. It is as good as Ghost Game could have ended.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can take
standards were low, but not low enough.
So we begin with Siriusmon floating. He's dead. Regulusmon laughing. I like how they have this hang a bit longer to like remind the little kids how the last episode ended because they don't have the time to do the spiel at the beginning.
Yeah, that was a subtle recap.
Yeah.
That
No,
worked for me.
yeah, I could appreciate how they recap that without doing a
It's
recap.
like, welcome back, kiddies. Siriusmon has a
Yeah.
hole in it.
Yeah. And then Gammamon opens his eyes. He's in a gray version of Kiyoshiro's room, and as he sees everyone, Hiro, they all vanish to nothing. Then he randomly pops to Ruli's school. Ruli and Gormon vanish also. Chocolate. The chocolate didn't vanish quite as much, like give him a little bit of hope.
Yeah, and then destroyed it.
And then Espimon vanishes. Then he floats away. He appears in front of a dissolving Bokomon. We get the nice clock sound effect.
That was just mean.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, this is happening to you now.
Nope, still dead.
Clock sound effect. He mentions Bokomon going on a journey, and then he starts to dissolve. And then, because this is not enough of an artistic showing, they have to have like 10 Regulusmon starting to chomp down on everything.
Nom 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 nom.
And then,
honestly, it was like the goddamn Langoliers.
Yeah, and then Regulusmon sucks up energy from Siriusmon. Then everything goes slow and stops except Hiro. His Digivice flashes, and a mysterious voice says they've slowed things down. You can bring him back if you're quick enough, but if not, you're gonna fucking die too, as these things always go in fiction. Like
it's just classic portrayal of psychological warfare.
Oh, absolutely. It's nice. It's nice though that they stop to point it out because that is a very well-worn thing of the you're perfectly fine theoretically, but if
it's
you
also
do this, dun, dun, dun.
It's also nice that they spend time doing this sort of stuff because we're going to talk a lot about the stuff they didn't do in this episode. Yeah. This is what they spent that time on. And it's important to note that, like, this is valuable. This is nice.
Yeah. And then Hiro hears a crying Gammamon. They rush to each other. Gammamon's still dissolving. And at first you go, it's a bit odd. This isn't where Gammamon was. And as they float out, they talk. And I will say I like what they did, where Gammamon is not speaking correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And Hiro shoves him away. And Gammamon's like,
the fuck are you?
And then we get the Galoose laugh. And Regulus just admits he just doesn't like the way Gammamon talks, and he just refused to do it.
It's like, I'm sorry, I have standards.
It's like, I'm an adult.
Yeah. And then the Digivice shines, and Hiro gets a one-off Siriusmon weapon attack thing because he's in Siriusmon at the moment.
Yep.
I would actually say this is a negative. Do you know why?
Because they pulled it out of their ass and they could have done it so many times
there's
before.
There's two. Well, here's the thing. One, this is not an actual physical space, so they can do whatever they want, really.
Yeah.
But the issue is Ghost Game has a lot of examples of weird little one-off things that could have meant something, and they didn't.
Oh, you wanted them to bring something back?
Not necessarily, but like it would have been nice if when you think of this, and then you don't flash back to say Ruli with Tesla Jellymon. Or other little one-off things that just had no relevance to anything except the 10 seconds they showed up.
That's a weird example because Kiyoshiro and Rudy were very much just kind of followers in this episode, which is all right. But yeah, I'm sure there was something in the previous 66 episodes they could have harkened back to.
That's my only issue is they had so much little one-off stuff throughout the series. There's no payoff. It's just okay, it's Digivice, it's their connection. He's not in a real physical space, so
I'm trying to remember what Hiro did with the whole Betsumon episode. Like, it feels like that would have been a place to be inspired for this.
Or how about some weird trick that involves? Remember when they point out he could pick locks and shit?
That was 66 episodes ago.
And the last time we saw it, I think, was like 58 episodes ago. It was the Cromon one, wasn't it? The Yetagaramon one?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think that's the last time they point out that Hiro's different from other kids.
Yeah.
And then After this, Hiro finds Gammamon, who's not doing well. He can't really see or recognize anything. The space starts to crack because Gammamon's cracking, Regulusmon's eating more and more. Then we get... I'm not going to be negative about it because, again, it's a very normal thing. Hiro going over their friendship, and we get the flashbacks, and we see Regulusmon chomping in more and more, and then Gammamon starts to respond. We get the evolution.
This is the sort of thing you just nod and go, yep.
Here's the
good
problem.
thing.
Here's the issue. Makuake is not a cool enough song for this moment.
No.
Like really what needed to happen was we needed to see in the background Tai Chi just walk by and break the chain start, and he just keeps walking.
I don't know if it's a break the chain moment.
It isn't.
Absolutely a break the chain the moment.
I just can't think of any other recent songs they would just have around that would work.
This is where you have a slow jam remix of Butterfly in your pocket.
Yeah, Gammamon's restored, the space restored, time starts back up, the light flies back into Seriousmon. Regulusmon does that angry, I'm not happy. He can't cross his arms because he's a dragon with tiny arms. And then but he's also like very upset at Hiro specifically, and Seriousmon's just like, me, not him. Then we get the very standard one-on-one anime battle where Hiro also has to tell the others, hey, I can't actually stop you because I'm a little kid. You're not allowed to pass me. You know, he sticks out his arm like he's going to stop the Night Rabbit and King Gainer if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And then we get it's very much the standard flying around
Falcon Punch.
At first it is.
Yeah. Then Seriousmon de-evolves to Gammamon, jumps at him, turns into Betel, and right when once he turned to Gammamon and started jumping to him, I went, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen here. We're going to see, and then right as I say that, he starts to turn red. Betel punch him in the face, swaps to Cows, he flies around before getting him the gut. Weirdly, like, he switches to Wezen really fucking quickly compared to the other two.
I gotta whip through all these.
They have to deal with the fact that Wezen, you can't really have Wezen like waddling around, which is weird.
Wezen is not the Digimon of choice for this particular fight. They just need to.
No, that's the weird thing. Remember, the one time Wezen had to move, he moved really fucking quick.
He had land to do that though. I'm not sure how fast he swims.
Then he blasts him with Kenna Weissmon. Then he goes back to Seriousmon, and Regulusmon does his, I am very upset. See, I keep, when I'm like miming the thing, I'm like crossing my arms, and my brain just goes, he can't cross his arms.
You have to cross your arms with your elbows affixed to your sides.
And then Seriousmon's blade shatters. Regulusmon starts to crow that he has no weapons, which is weird because Regulusmon doesn't have weapons either.
Right.
And he's like, you gotta be devour. And then...
Like, shouldn't have said that, bitch.
And then randomly we have to be reminded that Bloom Lordmon's actually there.
It's just vibing.
And he's like, what he's doing is very powerful. Seriousmon charges up an attack anyways, punches right through it, and I'm pretty sure that you could probably trace a Goku Dragon Punch with that. And he gets and he gets blasted. He gets blasted away
there
back
was some
to
Dragon
Galus.
Ball in this fight.
Oh,
sure.
Yes, there was. Then Galus is like, I would definitely let you in my army. Seriousmon opens his mouth, and we get the little spirit forms of all the evolutions. Galus looks terrified as they all blast him. Then Seriousmon closes his mouth. And then, remember... And why does OBS say it's disconnected? Okay, now it says it's connected. Don't know what OBS is doing. So we get the smug Gammamon, which is fun. And then he's like, you're part of me now. We have to explain the rules. And
That's a payoff.
So here's the problem. It's not a payoff because they've talked about it so little. I would assume most of the audience might not actually understand what was happening.
I don't know if it's come up recently, but there there's enough in there where I registered that as a payoff. Like, there's been
Okay.
enough times when Hiro has to go over the rules again with Gammamon, and I really liked that Gammamon's going, okay, I have this thing that is under my control now. With that comes setting the boundaries, setting the
Yes.
rules.
Yeah.
It's like, I am
I thought it
behind
was
you now.
it's definitely a payoff. Whether or not people took it as a payoff, I don't know. I did.
It's
It works
a
for me.
payoff. I would just say it's not a good payoff because it didn't come up enough. Is my only issue with it. It makes sense, but that's Ghost Game. It is.
That's a general Ghost Game.
Then they're all back to the normal space. Bloom holds his weapon to Gammamon, and Gammamon's like, me and Galoose made a deal. Everything's fine now. Galoose made medicine to repair everything, and we see everything being restored. And then that's when Bloom Lord's like, my lord gave permission for you all to enter. And then we meet Quantumon. She says hello. She randomly makes like a weird creepy face, like we're supposed to expect she's gonna stab someone or something.
I was kind of hoping.
I bet she would have the conversation gone differently.
It helps.
I think it looked like it was going to get to that point.
It would have helped if she had explained her inability to understand emotion earlier. Because it just means that she's trying to mime what she thinks she's supposed to do, but because they took so long to get there, you think she's like being creepy. And I'm not saying she's not being creepy, but she's not doing it on purpose.
She's just
I was kind of hoping for like
and then
double
and then she's like, I've been calculating the future of the worlds, and most of them they collapse on themselves because of emotional chaos. Digimon making poor choices when they're shown human emotions.
We've seen the shows before. We know how this goes.
Yeah. And Quantumon doesn't understand them, but she also admits that like the partner Digimon very clearly have emotions, have been influenced by human emotions. She sent Digimon there specifically to like collect emotions and figure them out. And then Black Tailmon's randomly just there. And it's like she helped develop gate opening devices and also to figure stuff out, and also I helped Hakuto make the Digivice, which would have been nice if Hakuto had mentioned this when he showed up with Terriermon.
Hakuto continued to be useless. One last nod to that.
Yes. And then it's like, and various Digimon who were gathered gate would be retrieved by Black Tailmon and none of them knew any of this was happening. And the Digimon were none the wiser. And also, you kind of flash back on things happening. Like, that's not really what happened, but I'll give it to you since it's the finale.
It's close enough.
Yeah, it's like
this is all just kind of whatever. Blah blah blah. Let's get to the
this is like plot backtracking to try to like tie everything together. Except like it's like that isn't what. It's like when you think of Sistermon Seal or Splashmon, that isn't really what Black Tailmon was doing. No, but it's the finale, so we'll wink and pretend.
Sure.
Yeah.
My biggest compliment to this whole section is that it was fast.
Yes, and also Hiro accuses Quantumon of using them like pawns, and even Quantumon admits perhaps, but also pointing out it's necessary. It laughs a bit. Jellymon and Goramon admit they aren't really that bothered because it worked out well for them, which is hilarious when you consider like how many things went wrong for both of them or for friends of theirs.
It was more of a
you had to murder your friend.
And then,
it was more of a overall. It's
and then this is where it gets stupid because like it wants to make something deep, but it doesn't explain it well enough. There were limited around the Digivices, but they evolved beyond that. What?
Yeah, that was a quick explanation for that. It's like, oh, okay, fine, what?
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of like it wants to be cute. Like if it had been the time limit, that would have been fine. But apparently, it was an evolution limit.
I think that was the time limit. I think that's what.
Because it talked. No, I think it actually said it should to level evolution.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought it was referring.
I took that to mean it was the time limit, and then the
time limit that half the time didn't happen.
Yeah, and then the their evolution to ultimate ended up circumventing that.
But it kind of didn't. And then Kiyoshiro's freaked out, and then because this is the time we needed to chime in, Gammon's eyes goes black and he's Galoose. And then this is where we need to stop for a moment to point out, I don't know what I was expecting, but I'm glad it went quick, and I'm saddened for anyone who actually had like expectations of something cool happening. The black Digimon all drop because they were hiding on top. They're all around, and Quantumon stops like, they're all immune to the Galoose Realm Burst, and they just were standing around watching Galoose. And Galoose also knew this the whole time. It just didn't care. Because also we should point out, think about ignoring Regulus since he didn't show up until the end. Think about how powerful Galoose was.
Mm-hmm.
What is Black Agumon going to do against Galoose?
Right? Yeah, so all those guys were just a complete waste of time.
Yeah. And here's what I don't like about it. And I think AR and me have argued about this a little bit. I think you actually had to do something with them to make that worth the effort because it frames them as like something important.
Yeah, no, you kind of.
They aren't at all.
They're because here's the thing.
I think you're not. I mean, you're right about that. Like, you do have to pay it off. This is one of those things where when you consider all of the exposition we get to this point until they get to the big part at the end.
It's just so. Here's the thing.
All of that felt like this episode would be better if we just didn't have it.
Yes.
Like, all of that stuff made the episode worse, even though some of it would have been
because literally
necessary.
We had to have the 15 seconds of them dropping down and then a quick explanation when the explanation and everything takes less time than we got the camera hanging on them in prior episodes.
Right. You're right in that we needed that explanation. It didn't make the episode better.
No.
It made it worse.
I mean it needed to be an explanation that made it worth the time spent hanging on them with the camera pretending they were important, only showing them when Galoose showed up. They were always off in the distance looking mind-fucked or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You needed to have...
That's what I meant.
Nothing ever came up of like, hey, don't they call you like the Dark Conqueror or some shit? Like, okay, well, what did he actually conquer?
Yeah. And then Galoose is like, hey, I agreed to the rules. I don't lie. I'm going to follow them. And then we need to stop again because this is where like everything's done, but they need to like explain what they're going to do next, and the explanation is either great or really fucking stupid.
Guess which?
Yeah. So Galoose. So wait. I need to get into the mind of Galoose so I can do this properly. Something is coming. The Endbringer. I came from space. The digital world planet I came from was eaten a long time ago, and my mission isn't done.
It's
whatever it is.
We wasted all the Poochie jokes on Espimon.
I know.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
And it's coming soon. And then turn the camera to Hiro. When's it gonna be to this? When's it going to be here on Earth? 2,000 years. And then all three of the kids roll their fucking eyes on screen.
Yes. Okay, what?
And then Quantumon and the Digimon all start to freak out. And Galoose, he does that like shrug. Hiro's too easygoing. And we should point out that they like frame this as a whole Digimon. Time passes differently for Digimon. It doesn't. We've seen these Digimon in episodes get like frustrated with things taking time and everything. We've seen that they do not perceive time at a different like.
They definitely don't perceive it as faster.
No. And here's the thing. This is not like an adventure thing where time runs differently. They're suggesting that because they are artificial and maybe to some degree never aging, that their perception of time is different. It doesn't matter. It matters in a different way.
It's also kind of the, even if, you die, you get reborn, and it's like all that, you are perpetually alive.
Yes.
Essentially. So that in 2,000 years, yes, this is going to be a problem.
The issue is that has never been how Digimon in this series have perceived time. They've acted like time is exactly the same as it is for everyone else.
It's like you're showing one thing, but then just saying something completely fucking different.
Yes. In fact, the first enemy was a clock, motherfucker. And then
So
all
fucking bad.
all the Digimon must return to the digital world to help prepare for this because it's very soon. Quantumon wants Gammamon and the others to show up also because they will be like powerful leader people. It's too early for the worlds to be this close. And then for the hope of the future, it swaps to Clockmon and everyone else saving people, even Betsumon. Which I don't know why I'm so amused at the Betsumons helping.
They're all just Clockmon's bitch
Yeah.
now.
Gammamon
Yeah.
and Hiro run and hug, and Hiro declines the worlds being separated. They'll be okay. They don't want to be separated. They have to find a way to coexist and grow. The problem is to both of theirs. It's a narrow and fragile path. We have to go back to Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, because this is how that ended, where we got the speech about how, times change. You have to learn to get along, and the undiscovered country of the future. And then the episode goes ultra fucking stupid when it takes that metaphor and goes, no, they're actually gonna like make a country or something.
Yes, but in like a separate digital world, like fucking
Was it?
Digiports or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
they said it's a
something
separate
like that. Like it was an in-between
uninhabited
world.
space.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Oh,
Yeah.
is it gonna be in the digital space?
I think so.
Okay,
I think that's sort of the
I
impression I
thought they were
got.
just running around like we're gonna make a country. And I'm like, motherfuckers, someone watched Star Trek 6 and like misunderstood the message at the end when they start talking about the undiscovered country. It's not an actual place. It's
No.
a metaphor.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, they're making an
Yeah.
actual physical country.
And then
Yeah.
like we see the various Digimon running through the gates to go home. The networks turn back on. Hakuto knows they won. And then this is where like the episode trips again on giving us an explanation we don't need. Hakuto's asked, what did Gammamon used to be like? Everyone was scared of him, fought him, was mean to him, he was prickly. Hakuto says he was right to him with Hiro. Except here's the thing. That isn't like the framing of what we're told or anything.
No.
Because
it's not.
Yeah, it's not like we have little Galoose running around and that's what it was. Gammamon was, and we're even told that Galoose is hiding in in like an innocent Digimon, even if that is like what Galoose's lower form should be.
This was an episode. This is an episode that is good because of the beginning and the ending. It's all of the stuff that they felt like they had to explain that really drags it.
Like you don't need the Gammamon explanation at all. You've already explained it.
There's a lot of TMI in here.
Yeah. And then like they keep randomly bringing up the Endbringer, or whatever the motherfucker's name was.
Yeah, just let that go. Like I'm sure that was like something they thought of at the very beginning, and like okay, we're gonna kind of revolve. Like the ending's gonna revolve around this, and then with like had 5 seconds to explain it.
Well, it also isn't a great explanation because that's literally what Galoose is doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't need to incorporate that at all if you don't want to.
No. And
like
then,
they didn't have to go into that, but it's like they
fucking stupid.
And then
it was one of those things where it's like they came up with it really early. It's like we got to get this out, and it's one of those kill your darlings moments. It's like no, just let that go.
And then after Hakuto goes a bit, they go back to the Kirk and Klingon stuff, talk about how the future's faint, but they have to try a new place where everyone can be hand in hand, and then the Enterprise goes flying off while he quotes Peter Pan. And then Hiro's eating with Kotaro, Gammamon, and Espimon, asking about this brave new world. Kotaro wants to know if there's cute Digimon there. It's like, he's the only consistent character in this show.
Yep.
And the answer is a good one for him.
Yeah. And then Hiro explains Digimon digital world to people in conferences around the world, as does Kiyoshiro. Jellymon ranting at him was fun. Then they're really writing a song. And it's like, I think someone watched too much Star Trek even more than me that they're like pulling these random Star Trek asides.
I'm just happy that that all 3 of them were involved with this, because this is the way that Sabers honestly should have ended, because this kind of the same concept at the end where some entity is going, okay, we need to split the worlds up, and in Sabers it was just the protagonist going hell no. Here all 3 go hell no, and we're actually going to put the work into making this better, which is what they've been teasing the entire series. Like I said that months ago. It's like that's how this is going to end, is all the kids are going to work together with Digimon to try to make this work.
And
I
then,
was not expecting the whole damn new country, but
oh,
hey,
the hyper.
I'm good with this.
So this is where like people are like, no, it's a show for mature people. It's like, no, this is literally
not.
this is the explanation you give to 8-year-olders so they understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And then Angoramon speaks his pufferiness for the last time about emotions. Clockmon's teaching baby Digimon, which is great.
It was
Then
appropriately puffy
then
too.
they have
I was happy for puffery at the end.
then
Here.
they have the Ghost Navigator do, I believe, word for word his normal spiel, but it's been re-recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
And we see
I thought they were gonna say Digimon at the
yes,
end.
that's where like the show's written really sucky. That's where you say Digimon, you don't say hologram ghost. That's the entire point of doing that narration at the end.
It's literally that's one of the survive endings actually.
And then
Is pulling that.
it's weird. The only one that like really comes to mind is Mummymon. Like I remember him walking with the doctors, but I don't remember what any of the other Digimon were doing.
Did I even write that down? I don't think I did.
I remember Mummymon that they're walking around the hospital. I don't remember anyone else.
I think there's like groups of Digimon like looking at a screen, like watching whatever Hiro is.
Oh my god, are they watching War Game?
They'd probably be having a better time if they were.
And then Hiro has a lot of messages, so much to do. Gammamon says he's with him for it, and he ends with his introduction again. Then they jump to the show logo.
Mm-hmm.
And people were upset about that ending. No, the last 5 seconds. They were upset about something specific in it. And what's funny is, it does not matter. Do you know what they're upset about?
No. What's up?
When Gammamon says his line, the very end of it is when they fade to the logo. So it's not all with Gammamon on screen. The very end is over the logo. And for some reason, people are upset about that.
Oh, for God's sake. I don't know, people were upset for no reason for a lot of things in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those episodes where you just sort of, okay, yeah, the middle part, the speed running through the exposition was completely insane. I just liked it.
Like, this is such bullshit. It's so bad.
It's like the first half was good, and the place where they ended up was so appropriate to what they'd been building up.
They had to stop talking. They had to stop talking.
Yeah. Once they stopped talking, this was a good episode.
Now, realistically, 99% of people are upset are only actually upset for 2 reasons. We did not get Dark Seriousmon, and I know people don't like when I don't call him Arcturusmon, but it's funnier to call him Dark Seriousmon.
I think the fact that we were talking before the show, the fact that he wasn't called Dark Seriousmon or some variant of that was actually
because
telling.
You would expect. Because here's the thing, we should have seen it coming because the entire theme is the word Galoose has meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And the instant he was called Arcturusmon, and there was no Galoose there when the entire spiel was Galoose, 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 that should have been a hint.
Arcturus and Regulus are in completely different constellations.
And also Proximamon.
Random star
and
shit.
Frankly, I'm glad that we were wrong and they did not show up because nothing would have been added. It simply would have taken longer. Because here's what would have here's exactly where you would have fit them both.
Would have been talking less, which would have been nice.
So here's exactly where you would have fit them in. When everything's restored to Seriousmon, he ends up evolving into Arcturusmon for the final battle. And then when they talk, they have to turn into Proximamon to fix everything.
I thought that
I was hoping for that.
In fact,
I thought Proximamon was going to have to fight Quantumon. I thought they were building to that, and it's Ghost Game, so that Hiro talked his way out of it instead of having this big fight, which is so Ghost Game.
It's better than what they could have done, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's strange. It's a weird ending that it does mostly what you would just one-to-one expect them to do, with a few differences, like not having the evolutions, which gives you more time to deal with stuff, which is good. But also, they got caught up with the idea of the final episode info dump.
Yeah.
Because most of the info dump is great, but there's just a few random lines here and here that just complicates everything.
And he just outright contradicts.
Yes. Because here's what it falls into. They're trying to, like, can't think of the word I'm thinking of. They're trying to make it go, everything that happened in the show mattered.
Yeah.
When it absolutely didn't fucking not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there was too much that
There-
they needed to just say, okay, what do we actually need to
Yeah.
cover to get to the ending point, not worry about what everything that came before it.
yeah, they were too busy trying to go, everything mattered, everything was important, when
Because
it
once they
absolutely
got to
wasn't.
the part, because once they got out of that and the resolution was, okay, we need to create this mutual space between humans and Digimon, everything after that is wonderful. Loved it.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what, that is the payoff we needed, honestly, because that's the thing that Hiro had been doing all in so many episodes, is that, though, how many times did he look up to this guy going, humans and Digimon working together, what's that like?
I will say,
Finally does something with that.
I think the biggest trip, though, honestly, they do not actually show us what was probably the most important thing that happened, which is actually have Gammamon and Galoose talk and come to that understanding. It's basically, well, you punched me in the face, I guess I'll listen to you.
I would have taken that and just leave out all
No,
the
see, I
alien
think
stuff.
no, because the alien,
Violence solves everything.
get rid of the alien stuff, and have a moment or something where you do the stereotypical thing where Galoose is maybe not willing to admit they're right, but willing to try, rather than it just being, okay, you beat me, I guess I'll listen. Have it be maybe he'll give it a real chance or something.
Yeah, because you can leave out all the exposition and just say, we ran a bunch of simulations on how this is going to turn out, and every one of them turned out bad, so we're going to need to stop, and Hiro says no.
Because it feels a bit empty without coming to some emotional conclusion with the character, because it's like, okay, Galoose is not going to be evil. He's only, this is what happened with Clockmon, except Clockmon did it better. He's only not being evil because he got beat up, and he goes, okay, I guess I won't try to kill people. There's no actual like explanation that maybe there's another way to do this, if that's what we're, because theoretically they want us to take out of is that maybe everything Galoose had planned wasn't evil. Theoretically, is what they want people to take out of that whole spiel about aliens and not nonsense. But they don't actually have Galoose.
Yeah.
There's no conclusion that he reaches. They just kind of decide, okay, he doesn't have a choice, but he'll stand there and go glowy eye.
It also goes to the point that Galoose doesn't need a redemption. Anything to try to justify his actions. He's just
but that's asshole. The thing is they try to like unjustify. They try to like unjustify it by going, oh, his planet was blown. It's like, but that doesn't justify anything he's done.
Yeah, no, just make him a bad guy. It's fine.
Yeah. Just make him Frieza and everyone will be people love Frieza, and Frieza's just an asshole.
Yes, you just need like an unrepentant fucking asshole.
Yes. Yeah, it's not to me, it's not a bad finale. It did what it had to do to close stuff up.
It was Ghost Game.
Yeah, I hate to say that as an answer, but that is true.
Yeah, like this was a very good Ghost Game finale.
Yes.
It just, as an episode itself, it's definitely had some stumbling blocks, but I'm definitely satisfied with this being the way Ghost Game ended.
Yes,
though.
I'm more than satisfied.
Yeah.
I might give it my highest Ghost Game grade, a B-.
This was I gave this an A-. I'm good with that.
I don't think I can give it an A because it trips on itself just way too fucking much.
I can't give it an A because of how much it tripped, but this is the sort of thing that A-. It's like I recognize the episode has flaws, but I still felt really good coming out of it.
It is certainly how you end a show for 8-year-olders. You over-explain, you have a couple minutes of a good battle, and then you try to teach them about peace for the world.
I don't know. I think if you're explaining this to 8-year-olds, I think you leave out the explanation and just kind of gloss over the bits. I think that they aimed a little higher, and it's like, okay, we have all this stuff we have to explain.
9-year-olds.
If you're going to 8-year-olds, they don't care.
But here's the thing. No.
8-year-olds don't care about.
Here's the thing.
Digimon.
The writers care is the thing. The writers the writers are like, these kids have been waiting. We have to show them how important they are, and then they show up and then they yeet away instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the writers going, we have to pay this off.
Yes.
And then they did it in 1 second. No 8-year-old cares
And
about that
here's
stuff.
the issue. The 8-year-old cares if there's actually cool payoff. Like if they all showed up to help Siriusmon somehow. That would be cool.
That would have been okay.
Just having them all show up and then stop and go, yes, they've been there all along. And Galoose knew and just didn't give a shit because what were they actually going to do? It's
Right.
like it's maybe a powerful Agumon, but it's still Agumon. We've seen people spit fireballs at Galoose. He doesn't give a shit.
It could have just moaned about being hungry.
Yes. And that is the end of Ghost Game.
Well,
Although I will say, before we get into like the people who can't let go, I will say I love that there's only one crazy Ghost Game theory I've heard of that could actually pan out. Like the people are like, oh, they're secretly setting up a sequel TV series or a movie. No, they're not. There's only one crazy theory that could actually line up.
model kits.
No. The only crazy theory they could say is Seekers is a year or two later.
Yeah.
People in Digimon working together. Gammamon's going to be narrating the audiobook version. I'm not saying I expect it. That's the only one I will accept as a possibility, at least.
I guess
It would make more sense than Ghost Game.
I feel like that.
Oh, it would make.
I feel like yeah. I
It
feel
would.
like it would.
It would make more sense than the dumbest one I've heard. Are you ready? So the people who are like, okay, it's set up for a big movie finale, and then when it's pointed out, no, they literally have a movie come out in 7 or 8 months, and they're like, no, that's part of the setup. They'll announce the movie after the O2 movie's out. It's like, here's the thing: half a year from now, no one gives a shit that Ghost Game ever existed.
No, a year from now, like no one will care about Ghost Game.
And I don't mean that in a mean way. Ghost Game did not move the needle at all.
No.
It took up a time slot.
It got a time slot back to April, which from day one was what I said was when it was going to end. Is they were going to get it to April, and then that would be it. And I will say, not just AR, I love how anyone who pays attention in even the most minimal way is like getting inundated with people who just can't handle it. Like, this one had a movie, this one had... No. Successful things had movies, and things had movies back when the Toei Anime Fair aired, which was a very different time. Mm-hmm. The Toei Anime Fair basically existed to do well-budgeted advertisements that there was a TV show on.
And only, I guess, only Adventure and 02, I would say, had actual follow-up movies.
Yeah.
Like, our War Game was a follow-up to Adventure. You could argue the second 02 movie was a follow-up to those.
You could argue...
I would not say Tamers was a follow-up.
So I would say you can argue Runaway Digimon Express is. The issue is the context of that could easily be taken as just a random adventure that we never saw. Now, it doesn't fit, but you can argue that.
Yeah. But, I mean, the Frontier movie also doesn't fit with any particular point in the timeline of the canon either. So it's just a baseline point.
So someone's asking something in chat we actually do need to go over. Someone's asking, did Ghost Game tank in the ratings? One, TV ratings do not necessarily matter, but they do matter in the sense of you can gauge certain things. Ghost Game is, I believe, the only Digimon TV series that never popped into the top 10 even once. Now, honestly, TV ratings in Japan don't necessarily matter in the way most people count them as, minus that if something does pop into the top 10 more than once, you can say it's basically a rousing success in most cases, unless it tanks later.
It's like people are actually watching this enough for it to be noticed.
And watching it live.
Yes. That's how that's one of those things where we know 2020 did well. The only time 2020 did not do well was when it still had the expectation of the Digimon Adventure branded live events and everything. When the plan was to do what they did with Tri and Kazuna, which was to have non-stop shit happening. That's when Toei had the report, 2020 wasn't making the money they expected because coronavirus, blah, blah, blah. And then the next time it showed up, they're like, it's doing great because they estimated everything without that being in it anymore. Ghost Game, I'm not, when I say move the needle, I don't mean it tanked. I just mean it doesn't matter.
It was there.
Yes. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but like there's plenty of shows that just exist and then the end. The only case here is it happens to be part of a larger brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And any movies that existed 20 years ago do not matter for Ghost Game at all. And
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
Since it got brought up in the chat, I have to say things trending on Twitter do not necessarily matter.
Yeah, that's all personalized.
Yeah.
For your account.
Even if you see the actual trending, it can things trend that tank. Morbius trended many times, and no one gives a shit. And
Morbius is a very strange example.
I'm not.
It's Morbin time.
I'm not saying Ghost Game tanked. I'm saying it did not move the needle, as in the overall game of life, it does not matter. We're going to see.
It's not something that they're going to revisit outside of an anniversary year, and even then, it's going to be maybe a figure or something.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. We're not like you're definitely going to see some of these Digimon in games. They will definitely get some sort of toy or things like that at some point. But it is not going to be. We are not getting Ghost Game 2 a year from now.
There is not going to be another Ghost Game anime.
No.
Anything. Probably ever.
Realistically, yes. And I'm glad AR said that instead of me because
I'm gonna say it. Like I'm somebody who like I was fairly entertained by Ghost Game. Like I'm not a hater of Ghost Game. I'm just saying that's the reality.
Yeah.
It's nothing anime. It's not going to get another anime series. It's not going to get a movie. None of that is going to happen.
Yeah. There's realistically only 2 Digimon things that will get more. And hey, they announced the date for Ode to the Beginning. And isn't it magical how that worked?
Yeah.
Like,
how about that?
Oh man, they announced it at Anime Japan, which I believe if you go back a month or so, didn't I say that if the movie was gonna come out this year, they basically had to announce it at Anime Japan?
Yeah. Yep.
And they announced that the weekend the prior thing is ending. So people are like, well, why didn't they announce it at Digimon Con? Because they have shit to talk about at Digimon Con that's happening soon. The idea is not to trip Ghost Game. The idea is they are going to talk about Ghost Game until it's over. They announced the O2 stuff the day before Ghost Game ended, because at that point, Ghost Game is done as far as marketing goes. And the most fun part, which no one called because we just didn't look into it, the day Anime Japan started was actually the anniversary of 02 ending. So they actually announced the date and put up the teaser trailer and everything on the exact day the show ended back when it aired. So that's a neat little touch. The poster shows Shinji in front of a digital cityscape with a digital road and Daisuke and Vmon. Also, this is where like we've talked about it before, where the power of hardcore Digimon fans means very little when you get into how many people know Adventure in 02. The number of people who had no idea this was happening that I saw, or even better, the number of people who like claim to be hardcore Digimon fans were like, oh, they're rebooting 02 now. No, they're not.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
Yeah, so...
fucking Google straight, you dumb fucks.
That's a bit mean, Dev. But also that is the Wikimon attitude, I'm gonna say. And then we get the teaser trailer with some familiar songs. We get Braveheart, we get Target. And it's the choice of 02 works very well for naming also. Mine is that they had to trip and add the beginning to it.
Oh yeah.
Which regardless of how literal that ends up being, Because here's the thing, people can lie, they can be wrong. The name just seems to be confusing people who think it's a reboot.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. We get to see Armadillomon and Yoli, the best characters.
True.
Dagya.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we will have plenty to say about this in the future. Not much now because this was like them placing the Vmon mascot on top of a building, looking down, and we all look up and just see Vmon standing there. It's like, yeah, it's the next 7 months are going to be Vmon, Vmon, Vmon.
Oh yeah.
Although I will say, I am saddened that some of the stuff that we've gotten in the past we will not get this time because those venues don't exist anymore. Like the music cafes don't exist anymore.
I mean, anything that
Aw.
involves serving beverages themed after characters, I'm not gonna miss.
To be fair, it was fun to see the stuff and talk about it. We don't want to taste it because it looks like it will kill us.
I get kind of grossed out by some of those.
Oh,
so.
I absolutely do. That's why
Yeah.
That's why I had to point out the one Gundam one. It almost all looked drinkable.
Oh no.
Somehow Gundam gets actual like drinkable stuff. It doesn't look like you're gonna throw up trying to eat it.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Digimon gets the kind of combinations that a bunch of bored grade schoolers
Yes.
put together.
Yeah,
watching
yes.
Enjoy your Hawkmon sludge.
Yes, Gundam gets like, oh, here's some sparkling water. We added some cherry juice to it, and we put a few slices of strawberry in it. Digimon is, here's your coffee. There's a strawberry floating in it. Also, we put in some crushed cherry blossoms.
It's the Kyoko Kuremi mixology course.
Okay, so moving on from 02, kind of. They announced Digi-Fest 2020. I love the logo. I love that.
That's not getting away from 02, though.
I love that they're not gonna let people even theorize if there's something else that's important. No, they've told us what's important.
You know what?
02.
It's not subtle.
No,
It's just gonna be out front with it.
Although
There's
I will
no
say,
Ghost Game reunion, none of that crap. This
I
is
will
a
say,
02.
they finally fixed the logo. Prior Digi-Fest logos had a problem that I just never brought up. Something wasn't lined up correctly. And I believe they actually fixed it this time. Yes, they did.
I would have to look at the old ones to compare.
Yeah, like I'm pulling up the 2022 one to show you. I think that one was still broken. Yes. It's not super broken, but you'll see what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Like stuff
Well,
isn't lined up.
yeah.
Stuff isn't lined up properly. Like it's like they.
The D and the first two were really off.
There's a few things that are off, and
Yeah.
that's like all fixed now. They've like actually, and that goes back years. That issue.
Huh.
Yeah.
That
So
bothers me now that I see it.
I know.
Yeah, I'm scrolling away from that now.
No one seemed to notice it but me, and I just chose not to share it to not annoy people. But now that it's fixed, I had to let you know.
Yeah.
This is going to be held at. Now, was Aqua Park Shinagawa where it was last year? Like, it wasn't at Stellar Ball last year, but I think it was at Aqua Park, wasn't it?
It was a year ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, so Stellar Ball is a big.
If you ask me where Digi-Fest is, I say it's in Japan.
Stellar Ball is a big event hall at the Prince Hotel Shinagawa. This is like 900 people with seats. I think it's like 1,900 if you don't have seats. So very nice looking venue. I like that it's slightly less formal than some of the ones they've done in recent years, where you're like in the weird like opera houses and shit. Like those, they never had the right vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is like Digimon, not.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
concert.
Yeah. So this is July 30th. So we will see what pops up. This is generally like the big yearly thing. This is like the big thing where we actually get interesting stuff, while Digimon Con is more like the marketing thing to try to get people to watch. Here they kind of don't care if you watch or not. It's more about either being there and also what gets announced. Like if like
This one's news, the other one's a commercial.
yes, this is where I would not be shocked if we found out about Digimon Story and stuff like that alongside 02, especially with 02 being 3 months later.
It's a big one for merch products.
Yeah.
That one's it's a really good one for announcing figures and stuff.
The best thing about Digi-Fest, honestly, isn't just the cool shit they announce at it. They will just have the stuff sitting out in like displays, and we end up getting photos throughout the day of people wandering around. It's like figure, new plush. What the fuck's that?
This is fun just to watch people
Yes.
who attend enjoy it.
Yes. So for anyone who's not aware, Digi-Fest is the big fun yearly event. Digimon Con is the marketing one that they fooled YouTubers and social media personalities into thinking is important.
Yeah.
This is the one that's actually fun. So I'm especially since like we are very close to we're very close to like we've talked about before, not knowing what's coming next. Like at this point, we didn't get that when Tri ended because we knew something was coming. By the time Kazuna was out, we knew Adventure 2020 was happening. We know this is happening. Seekers is bleh. I mean, we don't know what's going to be, but it is.
We know how influential
we know Seekers is happening. We
it's
don't
a marketing
really know
thing.
how big it's going to be.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Digi-Fest because we could actually get news of stuff. I don't expect an ongoing show or anything like that, but stuff. This would even be the right timing if they want to go, hey, there's going to be some sort of OVA after 02 or something. This is where you could get interesting news. We may not, but
possibly, yeah.
Coin flip. Okay, wait. Coin flip on if we get Sabers. Or hell, Ghost Game Blu-rays. I'm shocked they've not announced it.
That's a proper coin flip there.
Because here's the thing: if Ghost Game was not getting a retail disc but got rental discs, we could say it's probably an exclusive thing. They're getting a lot of money for it. There aren't rental discs for Ghost Game.
Yeah.
That kind of says that they've decided, at least for now, it's not worth their effort to even do, which is shocking, frankly, especially with how much Digimon sells on home video. Although it doesn't say adventure in the title, which might explain them not caring, because we've seen the number differences.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we got the news, all had to do with Anime Japan. So it's not really relevant news anymore because it already happened, but I love seeing all the photos of people happy walking around getting photos with the mascots. Lots of Gammamon and Vmon photos this time. What do you think? Who do you think that Gammamon mascot costume is going to be ripped apart to make? Do you think they bring back Gabumon? Do they make a backup Vmon? Or do you think they try to do Wormmon?
I want to say Wormmon would probably not work out that
yeah, I'm not sure about Wormmon.
Wormmon doesn't work great vertically, but I would like to believe they would.
They could try to. I mean, they could try to turn it into Hawkmon. I don't know if there's any.
I've tried to think. See what I think may work: a vertical Patamon.
Oh God, no,
Tailmon.
Yeah.
Tailmon
would work.
Well, I've definitely seen people make Tailmon ones that are nice.
Or do you think they go back to the classic one? Because they used to have a Fladramon mascot costume.
Ooh. That would be adorable.
And then, next up, so this is funny. They announced a new Vital Bracelet online battle event. They ended up having to do maintenance, so it didn't happen.
Okay, moving on.
And then this was one of my favorite ones. Not because of the news. It's one of the few times when I saw people get so toxic that they blocked me. So,
yay!
Pre-ban Labsy visited the new Nariki World Store. That's in that new Bandai complex they opened like a month ago. And it features all the roleplay toys. The reason I got blocked was someone got upset and started screaming at the Digimon Twitter accounts that this wasn't Digimon news. You have to pay your social media interns better. I'm like, it is Digimon. You have to watch it. And then a couple people blocked me when I tried to point out, no, there's actually relevant Digimon stuff here. And they blocked me and deleted their posts. Because what this was, a big part of this video was showing off the D-Arc Ultimate because it's on display at the store. Because the entire point of the store is the fancy life-size roleplay items, like previewing them. You can buy them at a place that isn't premium Bandai. They have a
You
huge
can see them in person.
No, and the neat thing is they have a huge wall in the back with product images of like not everything that's ever been done, but like all the modern ones. And you could actually see a bunch of the Digimon ones in the display, and it was exciting to see that like it's there with all the Kamen Riders, the Ultraman, the stuff that often like is the headliner. And you can even see stuff that like isn't part of the CSA line, which is neat to see. Like you can see the CSCA D scanner.
Yes.
But you can also see the Digivice version complete, I think it is.
Yeah, I have to zoom in a little far, but it looks like that's the one.
Yeah, it's right behind it. And it was just neat to see. And I was trying to go, no, you guys are wrong. There's Digimon stuff here that's neat to see. And they just deleted the post and then blocked me. It was funny as hell. Because like they actually like do a product preview and stand in front of it and talk about it for a while, and it was neat. And this is like one of those weird times when like you get weird things that don't look like they're Digimon at first, but if you look, they like have a bunch. And like I'm really leaning to getting that D-Arc. It looks, especially seeing it when it's not like a product render and you can see like the actual physical thing.
I want the thing.
Yeah. This is how you sell these crazy items is you show photos of them being on display so you can tell they're not like a fake render. And it's just really neat. Yeah, and that Bandai complex has other Digimon stuff in it. I just haven't gotten good photos of it. Like there's apparently a whole floor dedicated to like having card game match setups.
Ooh.
So it's just neat. And I wish that was a plan, seeing it wasn't, but it is card game next. So I'm going to pretend it was. They announced that during the Challenge Cup in Metaverse nonsense that they were going to do a card game announcement. And they announced a bunch of stuff, like holy shit.
The deluge of cards
No,
begins
like
again.
No,
Card,
this isn't.
No,
this
it's card game. This
Yeah.
is card game stuff.
Yes, this is where like we got previews, but they were less formal previews because of what it was. So the first was they showed off the. And this was in order for me putting it in order for thematic effect, not like the order they did. So we got to see the packaging for the new booster sets, starter decks, and they announced the names formally. Then they showed off a bunch of previews during matches. Then they announced new game mechanics, which I've seen people say this is like improve the game 100%. I've seen people say the game's ending forever because of this.
Yeah, but isn't the game ending forever like
Yeah, that's the
every
thing.
announcement?
Every
So
time
the
they're
first
saying
thing
it's
they
ending forever.
announced was, and there's only one each of the new starter decks, but it's going to be a big part of the next booster set, Ace cards. So you get the Digimon. It has the little Ace sigil next to it, which it's been clarified many times that is not part of the Digimon's name. So Dev does not have to cry when people do that on Wikimon. She can just delete it. Because the instant I saw blah 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 Ace, I went, oh, if that's part of the name for the card, so that means Dev's gonna have to deal with people trying to go, Wargreymon Ace is a new Digimon introduced in 2023.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no.
So Ace cards have two features. Blast Evolution, you can evolve them at no cost as part of a counter mechanic. But if you evolve them using that counter mechanic and they end up getting blasted away, you lose a lot. Which is called Overflow. So, for example,
it's basically the same thing that they do with like, I guess GX cards or whatever they are
Yeah.
in Pokemon. Just like,
Yep.
Yeah. So that's part of countering. The new set's called Blast Ace, which really makes the new name make more sense. Don't you think so?
yes.
Yeah. They showed a few more cards of that. We got to see ace versions of Holy Angemon, Lilymon, Metal Greymon, and Zudomon. So they can show up for at least Perfect and Ultimate. I wonder if there'd be any point to have an ace adult card.
If for evolutions, no. If the whole idea of it is to evolve them quickly, then there's no point in having
Yeah.
them be adults.
Well,
I'm not even sure they need them for perfects, but
it's evolved them quickly, but it's also that it's part of a counter, I believe.
yeah. But
So
you can evolve all to
yeah.
adults and perfects pretty
So
quickly.
then they also announced changes to game preparation and the flow of battle. So the main change for game preparation that I'm aware of is when you first draw, you can call a mulligan and reshuffle all your cards and draw again one time.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, anytime a card game does not have a mulligan, there's lots of arguments on if a card game should have mulligans or not.
It's a pretty reasonable ask.
Then the main thing
I
for
mean, Pokemon, you need to have a mulligan rule because you need to have a Pokemon to start with.
Yeah. And then battle flow. The main changes I believe have to do with the counters, so that there's a way to counter and have ace and whatnot.
Yeah.
They showed off events, and yeah, we got There are very few cards we do not know of for Starter Decks 15 and 16 because they played a match with them during that. I think there's only like 2 or 3 cards we have not seen. And they look like nice sets, to be honest.
Hilariously, considering what we were discussing last week, where Garurumon has a tail in this one.
Yes. And don't you love when they do the adventure cards that are screen caps?
I do actually.
Now, am
It's
I
kinda
wrong?
nice.
Now, am I wrong, or has there only been 4 of those up till now?
There haven't been many.
Because I think it was just those 4 adventure
Just the
promo cards.
promo. Yeah, it's the promo
Adventure,
ones.
O2, Try, and
O2,
Kazuna, I think
Trying
were the only ones.
Kazuna. Yeah.
So I'll be curious if when we actually see like the high resolution one, if they're actually screen caps, if they're redraws, because the Blu-ray upscales they use in Japan really don't look good for cards.
I mean, that looks like a screen cap, so.
Well, but they're so small and ratty, it's a little hard to tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
we'll
mean,
see.
just the
It,
background makes it look pretty
yeah, absolutely.
convincingly.
Fun Digica confirmed that Hideyoshi is leaving. Him and Miyanori had the final match. I'm a little confused by the wording because it almost sounded like they're saying Fun Digica was ending. But I don't think it is. I think they mean like it's ending as it has been because he was one of the original hosts, I think. Card Battle's continuing their little event where they are matching off against him. We also got much better look at the 0-2 cards from that one promo pack because they were selling them at the thing this weekend. We did not we did not get like straight clean on previews last week. We got like the super diagonal ones that were trying to straighten. So that looks neat. They archived that weekend stream, so there's actually good images of a lot of it now. And then, to finish off cards, because Hideyoshi was leaving, Chiba brought back his most popular costume to celebrate. Of which the Andromon costume, which I just pulled up a screenshot of.
Oh, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, that is an amazing one. And then the O2 love continues. Black War Greymon's getting a model kit, which isn't a shock because whenever there's a War Greymon thing, you expect a Black War Greymon thing, but there's a neat surprise this time. They remolded the shield.
Ooh.
To not have the Crest of Courage.
Oh, right, because the other one has the indents.
Yes.
The embossing.
Yeah, so they read it. And also, all of the places that are armor get a nice, like, flake metallic paint, all the black armor.
Yeah, I see that.
That looks
nice.
really good. And it contrasts really good against the places that are, like, almost identical but skin.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks really neat. And the best part is not premium Bandai and not being sold as any sort of premium model. It is the same price as the model as the War Greymon one. And do you know why that's unique?
Because usually they jack up the prices when they make
No,
A different color.
No, because here's the thing: the War Greymon one's about 2 years old at this point. The MSRP is the same. It's not even it's not even change. It's like if you look at like when they do the O2 shop, because inflation's changed. If you go back to a shop from a couple of years ago, the can badges are actually different prices, and they're more now. There's not even inflation markup on this. It is the same price as the War Greymon kit, which is with price conversion that's under $20.
I definitely want to get this one, even though I still have the amplified version sitting untouched in its box.
Well, remember, this isn't the amplified one.
This is a lot easier to put together.
Yes. Yeah. Like, obviously, if we get it here, it's not going to be a straight price conversion, but this is basically $15 or $16.
Oh, it'll be easy to show up at like conventions or
absolutely.
just get it anywhere.
Oh, sure, but with markup. I mean like an actual MSRP that's well done here. It's possible. We'll see. And then I think we saw this coming even though we didn't say it, because the entire point of Digimon Journal is to get you to go to the website on a regular basis. And they're starting a weekly series, so they don't need to get you to go there. So they announced this is the end of Digimon Journal. It's been running for half a year. And for the end, they really finished with the VIP squad, didn't they?
I am familiar with these three. Although it's usually, with a lot of the Digimon journals, it was two pretty popular ones and then one kind of out of left field that doesn't fit thematically. And here it's just, nope.
No, here it's
the main trio.
Yes, here this is the final one. We're giving you the three you actually showed up to see every week. So we start with Omegamon, Dukemon, Magnemon. Yeah, like all of them get 4 images. Some of these, I don't believe we've ever had clean versions of the art.
Definitely not, especially with like the Dukemon
with the shield
firing
upwards.
his laser. Yep.
No, isn't that? Oh no, that is him firing. I thought that was him blocking. You're right, that's him firing though. Yeah, that one, like I was like, I don't believe we even have a half decent version of this, like at all. I think it's just old card scans.
Yeah, that's all we have.
Yeah. And then we get the big zoom-ins that show how big some of these zoom-ins can be just to upset Dev. Like, it's funny, that Dukemon image, we always get so small, you don't realize that, like, they don't detail his face on it. Or, like, because it's an odd angle, it looks weird. Because we've never had a good shot of it. And when you get the full big one, it's like, oh, that does look kind of funky.
Yeah.
So that is the end of Digimon Journal. And then we move on to, first up, with the special selection memory setup, they have started putting up like promo social media images of the characters evolving, which is neat to see. And with Ghost Game ending, we got a bunch of stuff to go over. So first up, the Digimon TV account put up a picture of the plush and a few scenes from the last episode, basically just saying thank you and all that.
It's cute.
Toei Latin America posted a clean version of that OP and the opening end card. Although I'm not wrong, I believe Galoose was in this in episodes, and they updated the OP with Regaloose, and that's not. I don't remember if they were in the actual end card version.
Nah, I think they flashed right before it swapped to the end card.
Okay, that would make more sense, frankly. And then we got a little bit of comment from Masakura Yoshimasa, who sung the insert songs for Strider and Makuake. Basically, first time singing anime songs for him. He watched Digimon when he was a kid. It made him really happy. And,
live your dreams, dude.
Good pleasantries and everything. It was nice to see. Then we got reference book update, and this just popped up last night for Quantumon. And God bless, my favorite part is I posted it, and at the exact time I'm posting it, I see Dev going, I'm editing a screenshot of Quantumon so that the Wikimon can have an image before the reference book goes up.
See, and that's exactly why the reference book went up. If I didn't do that, We would just be languishing for who knows how long.
Like, literally, I saw that as the same time I was putting it up, and it was hilarious. It was funny.
It is my curse.
And then Tenya Yabuno put up some stuff too.
Which I absolutely
He
love.
put up
Yeah.
art of the leads, which great. I love when he does the little super deformed versions of the Digimon. He doesn't do them a lot, but it's really nice to see. And he also put up an image of Dreamers and point out that Dreamers is continuing along for a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I would assume they want enough to do a volume 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a few more chapters probably.
Yeah. Because if nothing else, what I assume they probably would like to do is whenever they do that contest, it will just pick up in Psycho Jump when Dreamers ends. Because also, only having it do once a month won't kill someone who might, because they don't know if they're going to get someone who works at a professional speed level. You may end up with someone who can't do a weekly manga.
I didn't think they'd be far enough along in that to be able to make that happen, but we'll see. I suppose the turnaround time for manga is a little faster.
Yeah, we'll see. But remember, they haven't even
Depends
done
on
that yet.
assistance
But
and
that's
everything.
but that's what I'm saying. Dreamers could end at the end of the year for all we know, and it'll transition.
Yeah, if that was the case, then they'd be fine.
Yeah, we do not know. He's just said it's not ending for now. And then we got various bits of art from people who worked on the show.
These are great.
Yeah. So we have I can't say his screen name, and I don't know his actual name. Minus that I make sure he doesn't want to say anything else, so I call him Wax. Image of Gammamon fishing. I believe when I asked if he used it, I believe the response I just got back was a thumbs up, which is nice and clear. Ake did really good art of Gammamon and Hiro. Cozy Ash film post. This is like a weird, like traveling type art, which is neat.
Yeah.
I really love Gammamon's little outfit in this one so much.
The only issue I have with Gammamon's outfit is if you look at Angormon and Jellymon, it feels like it fits them. And I'm not sure Gammamon's fits him.
It's just a vest.
Yes.
Like when fishing. Oh, the Jellymon's girl boss outfit is great though.
Yeah. And then Nat put up 4 images. I don't recall if some of these have shown up earlier or not.
I don't recall seeing them.
One of them has a date, which does show February. So I don't know if we've seen it or if it just wasn't put up, but yeah. Great all-around art, though. The one that feels most properly in character is either the Gammamon or Jellymon, or Kiyoshiro just freaking out. And then for the end of Ghost Game got one more social art image showing all the main Digimon and a number of secondary ones.
And SPmon.
Clockmon's very happy. And Mummymon is
He didn't get murdered.
He survived. That's impressive.
Yeah. And then we have questions. You guys in the chat can throw them up. I think we will go a tiny bit turbo since, wow, we've gone a long time. So Diego sent one. He said, who would be the most off-putting Digimon to grow human hands like Siriusmon did? If Omegamon did, would that count as a new form? Omegamon has hands in a few places. So that would not be.
I know the answer to this. I'm letting you guys go first.
No.
Because this is going to be very disturbing.
I already gave my answer now.
Yeah, the most off-putting Digimon to grow human hands is Numamon. Picture it. It's not pleasant.
I went super photorealistic human hands.
Oh yeah, totally.
See, I don't think it's creepy for one reason. It just comes off as Slimer to me.
Human hands. That's the.
I mean, that's still kind of like Slimer.
He has the Gammamon arms though, or the Gulu's arms.
Okay, Allison wants to know for the next story game, are there any previous characters we want to see reappear?
I think you have to throw in Moraine out of tradition.
Yeah, I think at that point that's tradition. That's the.
I was surprised that they didn't cram her into Survive. Honestly,
I think they had other concerns with Survive.
I mean, they could have done it.
Yes, they could
Yeah.
have, but yeah.
Honestly, this is more just like personal, but I want to see Akira.
Ooh,
Hmm.
that's they worked Mameo into Next Order.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to get Akira in
Okay.
there.
And then the next one is actually specific to Dev. Someone remembered Dev mentioning she liked Battle Network and wanted to know if she's looking forward to the re-releases that are. I think that's next month.
I kind of lost track because a lot of games are coming
Yeah.
out at the same time that I want.
Yes.
So I don't have as much time to play games as I would like.
Same.
So I'm kind of like backlogged a
Yeah.
bit.
And then, were there any re-releases coming up? Me or AR were looking forward to.
They've recently released Persona 3 for the Switch, so I'm good for now.
Yeah, mine isn't quite a re-release. I haven't had time to play it. Is the Resident Evil 4 remake, which is
Oh,
getting,
I've seen that. That looks good.
it's getting glowing reviews, like cartoonishly glowing. Do you think there's a chance we'll see Arcturusmon and Proximon and Seekers? I think at this point is you can't say no as a guest to most, but I'm not.
I'm
eh.
I'm very skeptical about Arcturusmon, at least. Proximon you might be able to sneak in there. Arcturus is going to be difficult.
Allison, that question is not, those aren't necessarily accurate translations, and also what you're talking about is one person choosing to overwork themselves. I know what you're referring to. That's not really working conditions. That's that the person who is the head writer maybe should have not been. And people doing weird translations of his blog and commenting on their thoughts on him. So
Oh, yeah, I know what that's
yeah,
referring to. Yeah,
and
no.
yeah, we
It didn't impact the ending.
no,
We'll say that.
especially since the same translations also point out he didn't actually write all that much of the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's not working conditions. That's the person not taking care of themselves and maybe being at the age where they can't do that anymore. And weirdly, like, getting into people's living conditions when it's not like abusive, that's how the person wants to live, basically, to some degree. Like, I know what you're going to, but that's not working conditions. That's the person weirdly overworking themselves on their own stuff.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
Someone wanted to know, with a number of people being upset with the Ghost Game finale, with how people were happy last week, do you think there was any way the episode could have ended where they would have been happy?
No. If you're unhappy with this ending, there was absolutely no chance that you would have been happy with anything they put out.
Yeah. And that's also why, like, anytime I see the episode, we're like, oh, they rushed it. There was executive meddling.
Yeah.
No, this, like, completely matches with last week in every way.
This was as good as it was gonna get. If you didn't like this ending, you were never going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing they could have done that you would have been happy with.
Okay, quick double question first. Are there any Digimon we would like to quote unquote see in Seekers? Look, I just want a good story. I don't care what Digimon show up in it, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I already got my favorite in it, so I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, that's true. There you go.
I don't even remember who, honestly.
It's
Doremon, right?
Doremon.
Yeah.
Because it's a dragon and it's a fox and it's purple and it's fluffy and I love it.
I forgot that your favorite Digimon was Purple Agumon. And the two phrases, if people like Seekers, do you think there's a chance for it to get a seinen Digimon anime? I think this.
It would have
Doubt
to
it.
be mind-blowingly popular. I don't.
Look. Here's the thing. To even get like because have you guys noticed that people keep trying to figure out why the views are shooting up for Seekers trailer in the last day or so? Would you like to know why? It's not a secret. It's not that people are randomly going, "Oh, Seekers looks fucking amazing. I have to look at this trailer." It's that it's a pre-roll ad now, and that
Oh.
counts. That counts for view counts. Yeah. So I don't think Seekers in and of itself. And here's the thing: we've technically had seen it. That's what Try technically was. It was a relationship drama, basically. And the people who don't like it still bitch about it as if it's still coming out.
Yeah. Like we have Digimon for adults.
Yeah, that
And it
that
was Try.
exists. And the people who claim to want it the most, they seem to be mixing up for adults with, "Ooh, Gammamon has a hole in him and I can make donut jokes for 20 hours." There's
It's a show for 8-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
And some people who watch it.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Then someone wants to know, did we think we'd hit 200 episodes? Fuck no.
No, I didn't think I'd be around this long, honestly.
I
did the guest spot on a whim.
Yeah,
like,
on a whim, and then you kind of pop back for one or two more guest spots, and then when I needed a permanent host, I was like, "Hey, you want to do it?" And it really felt like your plan was that you were going to hang around for maybe like a year.
Yeah,
just for a bit of fun.
Well, it was also because episodes were only once every couple of
every 3 to 4 weeks, so, basically.
Yeah.
I would say honestly, the show's calmer and easier to do now that it's weekly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
Also helps me keep track of time.
Yeah,
like, it's Monday.
That's how Dev knows it's Mondays. She wakes up and there's a message from me with the notes.
Yep, exactly.
Then someone wants to know, do you remember if they ever explained in Ghost Game how Galus Gammamon was part of Inside Gammamon in the first? It was basically Gammamon himself. No, the suggestion is that it's Galus, but they don't actually clarify that in a fulfilling way, because there's also the suggestion that Galus is hiding in Gammamon. So take that as you will. Do you think Ghost Game would be better if it was made as a manga?
No, actually.
I think it would be much more insufferable. Because you have to have the ongoing stuff. It would have to be very different, because if you could not, because also it wouldn't be
the storytelling elements are very visual, and you need the animation to make those work. There's a lot of stuff. Even the run-of-the-mill Ghost Game stuff, even those had a lot of visually stylistic choices.
Yeah. Okay, here's a fun one. If we had one magical Digimon commission, we could pick any Digimon or character duo you want. Can be drawn by anyone associated with Digimon. Who draws it, and what would it be?
Oh, I just have a commission from a scene from my fanfic. Like, pick one. That's an easy one for me. It'd be Haru and Tahiru hanging out.
Yeah, I keep jumping between all the unclever choices. I imagine it would probably be Daisuke and Vmon, honestly. It's just a matter of who. While Dev is eating chips or something.
It's candy.
Daisuke and Vmon drawn by Osmaria.
Ooh.
But I wouldn't be able to get it
really spiky.
I wouldn't be able to get it framed. It'd be too spiky. Dev, whose would your be?
Kind of silly, but I want some of my Digimon RP characters from One Cross Wars RP that I had.
God, those are the most.
That's the answer.
The most boring.
Yes.
The most boring answers are the don't actually answer the question. Answer something that is not.
Look, if you've read my fanfic or you know about Dev's Cross Wars RP, that's what you go with. You go with the self-indulgent shit.
Yeah, so like if I'm getting commission,
No, it said magical commission. I take that as free.
It is magical.
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
Mark.
What's that? Okay, Sparkle wants to know: do we expect the O2 movie to be the end of that timeline?
No.
So here's the issue.
How much money it makes.
So here's the issue. This is where like people who complain about Adventure don't pay any fucking attention. They keep trying to do other stuff. Anyone who likes other stuff does not take. Like, AR probably remembers on Twitter me making some gag about Appmon fans not buying shit a few weeks ago, about not buying the plush. One of the responses was, "There's an Offmon plush. Tell me I'll buy it." And I point out what it was, and they go, "Oh, you meant the tiny one. That doesn't matter. I thought it was like a big one." No. Thing over. If you want them to do more, you actually have to buy the small things that come out to prove to them there's a market.
Are the big Gatchmon ones still available?
No, unless you can just find it.
I have a big Gatchmon one, so I've bought my Gatch. I bought my Appmon
every
stuff.
once in a while, I think about going and seeing if I can find the app realize action figures, because those were neat. I don't think we're gonna answer that one, Quantumon, because that's more like fanfic combining stuff
That's
doesn't.
That's very part 3 of Neverworld that I'm never going to write would deal with that question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually my second story in that series, Nexus World, does actually feature Bagramon going, "Someone else has world-bending powers I want in," so...
Okay.
And then they kiss.
They do not kiss.
If the O2 promos end up leaning more heavily on Daisuke than Ken, would be surprised if we saw solo evolutions rather than new Imperial Digimon. It wouldn't be super shocking. It's more a matter of how fan-pleasing you expect stuff to be.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pickle, but they found a way out of the pickle in Kazuna, and it was weird, but they did it.
Do you know what my favorite part of how they got out of that pickle was? It was Kenshi Watanabe admitting he was wrong when he didn't want to do a new Omegamon evolution for Tri.
Right. Yeah.
Which was, he was like, no, we shouldn't do any more upgrades. They were going to do it without him, so he's like, okay, we should do a whole new design then. They did it. Then when they were doing Kazuna, they were just going to have the final battle be Omegamon, and he was like, no, it has to be something new.
Yeah.
That's literally him learning his lesson that he was wrong the last time. Let's see. Now that they're over, which show do we prefer between 2020 and Ghost Game? I think I know the answer for all three of us. AR's Ghost Game, Dev is 2020, and mine is 2020.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the beginning of Ghost Game, it was like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah,
and
the very
beginning of 2020 was really good too.
Yeah.
Well, also the last episode of 2020. Yeah. I just really like the Full Metal Alchemist vibes.
I'm not sure I got that, but okay. Jackie wants to know, are human emotions and dreams they have for which humans are needed for Digimon to live? I don't even know how to answer that. That's like metaphorical based on universe, to be honest.
That's some Kakuno level stuff.
And Matthias asks, isn't, based on what we're saying, isn't technically speaking Kazuna seinen? Technically, yes, because its target demographic is adults. Although they did specify they were aiming for kids with Kazuna also, just in the sense of expanding the brand. But yes, it was aimed at older fans. That technically speaking, at this point, any standalone thing, that's with those characters. Even if they're aiming for kids, it is aimed at an adult audience.
Taichi had a porn stash in that.
Yeah, that's a minimal. That's a minimal visual gag.
I know.
Like, there's nothing worse than that in an old Bugs Bunny cross-dressing cartoon.
I mean, the existence of Kotaro in Ghost Game is as bad as that.
Yeah. Okay,
probably worse.
Digimon Ghost Game is over and Seekers is beginning soon. How are we feeling about Digimon in the future? It's weird. I feel like this is like meant to comment on all the people like Doom saying on social media who like don't seem to be aware how much the brand's doing. It's doing fine.
Fine. God.
Like they're releasing expensive toys and also budget toys, so people of different economic demographics are buying shit. So
there's a new movie coming out in the fall. There's a new whatever Seekers is coming out next month. Dreamers is still happening. There's
you know what the issue is? It's not that we have new people in the fandom. It's that a lot of people who started being loud on social media started being loud in social media during the ramp up to Kazuna.
Mm-hmm.
And now those people are still being loud, like, we're not getting a show every week. It's like, motherfucker, 3 years ago we didn't have that.
Yeah.
Like, when Try
It would go years between shows.
Right?
Like, I remember when Try ended, there was almost no drop off for news, minus the Try related stuff. Because the franchise, Try made the franchise something it has not been since 02 aired, and that's self-fulfilling. And that is insane to think we are at that point still. To the point that they aren't even willing to let the anime end. They're letting the anime end and doing a year-long web novel series.
Mm-hmm. We're still getting stuff. Like, what do you have to complain about?
Yeah. This isn't quite a question, but we will. Marias, he assumes the O2 movie will be less conventional, maybe a bit more experimental, maybe not even an evolution for one. I don't know why you would think that, because the interesting thing is every interview with the director, who many things he's well known at this point, everything in interviews he talked about was he loves adventure, he loves O2, he loves Try, he loves all the films. His entire thing was he wanted to do that. And if he's coming back,
I also don't think Kazuna was conventional.
It ended differently, but the overall framing was very much War Game plus.
The third act, the way it resolved itself was kind of out there.
See, I'm not sure it is, because here's the thing. That's kind of like the Digimon stereotypical ending is they have to be separated, blah, blah, blah. It just ended in a different way for that, but it was still the same ending of we're separated.
Yeah, I'm not expecting O2 to break the mold.
No.
If that's what you're saying.
No, it's. I think people are getting confused because you have Shinji there.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Shinji could be the same as Manoa, who's the same as in Try, is the same as in Wallace, as the same as Ken, as the same as blah, blah, blah.
All of these movies have new characters.
Yeah, like, you have to have new characters to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, War Game, the new character was just Diablomon, but War Game, functionally, the plot is just the kids fighting him. There isn't...
And each other.
Yes.
And just the circumstances of not being available.
Yeah.
Which is honestly the most endearing part of that movie.
But yeah, unless you have an ongoing plot to already deal with, you have to introduce stuff to make stuff work. The people shocked that there's a new character at the center of it does not make any sense to me, honestly.
I was surprised people reacted that there was a new character at the beginning of Try. I'm like, yeah. Like, Mako showed up. Like, yeah, of course someone new is here.
Yeah, like, it's weird because the people who also complain about it the most have a tendency to be like, they need to stop with nostalgia. They need to do new things.
This
is new. This is new.
Yeah.
New characters are new things.
Then, well, last question. I'll go ahead and do Sparkles. Are they bugged that the stem of the question mark is off-center? The question mark itself is centered. I've still been jumping back and forth between going back to our old question mark, honestly. I like the old Mario one. So we will see.
Boop, 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 boop.
Doop, 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 doop. Let's see. Are there any last ones to jump through here? Do we think if Bandai lets fans work on Digimon, we'll get new awesome Digimon, new and old? I mean,
not
no, because like a lot of
the thing is,
like, here's the weird thing: when we get wild new designs, fans complain. Like the Bond forms from Kazuna are some of the wilder Digimon designs we've gotten. They make perfect sense in the context of what they're trying to say. They were very out there as far as Digimon designs went, and people went, yeah, they're kind of ugly.
Also, there's a weird implication of that suggests that the professionals who are creating this show aren't also fans of Digimon.
Yeah, and those were designed by Kenji Watanabe, who's been there since day one, and he's still able to pull up random weird shit. I fucking love that. And there's also, and I don't think the person meant anything by it, but like, new people do design stuff, and some of them are certainly going to be fans. But yeah, I like that we still get weird shit from people who've been with the franchise for years. And then I think that's about it. AR, how is the vote thingamajigger going?
Well, I think we ran too long for everyone to get in on the tiebreaker we had to have between Takuma and Minoru. That was insane.
Oh, I forgot. Did you see there may be a change to your poll?
What's that?
Uh, the
Oh.
crazy social media owner has said that only subscribers will be able to take place in polls very soon.
Well, I think I'm not sure how Tumblr works, so that might not be any different. But we
Well,
only got a couple weeks left of this,
there's
so
also the fact that he keeps like drunkenly making proclamations that never happen. So we'll see.
that's also true. Anyway, so that I thought I had a time so that would and it looked like it just ended now. So
I think I retweeted that one like a day or two ago. I think I saw.
no, it actually got more votes in the one day than Twitter actually produced in the week before that, which is a weird outcome. But anyway, we still have a couple days left on the Sweet 16 for the anime thing, so we do have a nice 0-1, or we do have a nice Adventure versus 0-2 battle of Ken and Koshiro going on right now. That's probably for the premiere matchup.
Okay. Now, Dev, this is important. You have to pick the most exciting thing to celebrate the end of Ghost Game that you can think of as far as articles on Wikimon goes. Pick one.
Chronomon.
I didn't even hear what you said.
Chronomon.
The motherfucker from the V-Tamer manga.
I know the other one.
How many of the motherfuckers are there?
At least 2.
3 if you count
no,
Timeron.
the fucker from the game. Is the one you're talking
chicken.
about. Was it the Chronomon was the one from the manga, right? Or did he have another name?
Which manga?
The V-Tamer 02 crossover.
I thought that was.
What was his name? Whatever.
Metamormon? Or is that from the?
I don't remember. Although there are 2 Chronomons from the game you're talking about. There's the Destroy mode and the Holy mode.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. It's all
okay.
Okay.
Allison said the one in the manga is Parallelmon, and yes, that's the name that came to mind. Okay. So Seekers is coming up. We do not know what the show's going to be like with Seekers. I expect we will have an episode next week for episode 1, and then the week after, when we get the week of daily ones. After that, who knows if we'll be here weekly or every 2 weeks. We will wait to see what it is and how much we can actually talk about it.
And what sort of I imagine we'll do a show next week because some wild random stuff will happen on April Fools as per tradition.
Yeah, that's one reason why I'm reasonably sure we will have one then. The week after, unless Seekers is very empty, I would expect with a week of like new chapters every day, we'll have enough to talk about. After that, we will wait and see because we haven't discussed it because we can't. We don't know what it's going to be. So thank you everyone for showing up. We will see you next time, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.